It's Tuesday, and you know what that is? That means it's a new episode of No Filter. I'm very, very looking forward to this guest today. He's a good friend. He's a good mate. He is. I always have a good time with him when I'm role reversed. In fact, this man is responsible for a huge part of my pandemic television watching, and has made me laugh and has kept me up all hours of the night. Not only does he have his own hilarious chat show, which I've also done, it was one of the producers that's created the magnificent, gigantic franchise of the world of the Real Housewives. I'm talking about the television executive producer, writer, and of course, host, and Papa. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one, the only, my Gemini, my bestie, Andy Cohen.
Hi.
It's been role reversal now.
I love it. I'm a little scared.
No, you know what? I believe it because we're Geminis. I believe it.
Yeah. Oh, someone wants to say hi to you. Do you want to meet the most famous supermodel in the world, Ben? You're a little young to meet the most famous supermodel in the world, but I'm going to introduce you. There he is. Ben, meet Naomi Campbell.
Ben, you're precious.
Say hi.
Look at your beautiful face.
Can you say hi? Say hi.
Hi. Oh, Andy, he's precious angel.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
He saved my life, man.
He looks so sweet.
He's a sweet little guy. Are you about to have your dinner? Yeah. She's beautiful, isn't she?
Did Papa give you a good dinner tonight, Ben?
Ready for a good dinner? Yeah. You gonna call you done? Okay, say goodbye, Ben.
Bye, Ben. Bye.
All right, Myrna.
Oh, Andy.
He's dreamy, isn't he?
Very, very.
Okay, I feel better about the interview now. I feel like we've been blessed by Ben, so it's okay.
We've been blessed by Ben, for real.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy, I just don't really. When was the last time I saw you? Was it last?
The thing about it is you were on Watch What Happens Live virtually, but I can't remember when the last time I saw you in person was.
I definitely the virtually was July.
Yes.
July. And the person, was it with Cuba Gooding? When I came on with Cuba Gooding? Was that the one?
I think you were you on with RuPaul more recently than that?
Oh, that one was fun.
Very fun.
Yep, you do get me to say things that I don't say anywhere else.
It was an icon party, but there were no icons. One of my favorite quotes.
I know, but the thing is, it's not a disrespect to anyone, but
of course not.
You know, if you're gonna say that's what we are, but then not one of us are there, then how is that possible?
It's true.
Change the name.
It's true.
Andy Cohen. This is your life. I'm kidding. Andy, we always start from the beginning. So can you tell us, where were you born and where did you grow up?
I am from St. Louis, Missouri, and that's where I grew up, right in the middle of the country. Very traditional family. My parents are still alive. I have an older sister. We were very close growing up. We're 3 years apart. And my family was in the food business, food manufacturing and distribution. I worked there every summer. I drove a delivery truck. I worked on the assembly line. I drove a forklift. I answered phones. I made copies. I did everything you could possibly do.
Geminis like to get to work. At what age did you start working?
I started working when I was in, I think, 7th grade.
Was it like a Saturday job at first, or was it full time?
Yeah, at first it was weekends, and it was every summer. I had a job every summer. Actually, no, when I was in 3rd grade, I started a paper route, and I would go after school. That was when there was an afternoon newspaper, and I would go deliver the afternoon paper. And I
know.
loved making a buck. I loved the feeling of coming home with money that I had made.
Independence. But you still have that spirit now about you. You are an executive at NBC Universal, right?
Not anymore. I'm not anymore. I was for many years, and I am now the executive producer of all the Real Housewives, as well as Watch What Happens Live, as well as my new show on E called For Real, which is the history of reality TV that we're doing, 7 episodes that starts at the end of March, as well as a show called Bravo's Chat Room with Portia and Giselle and Hannah from Summer House. The 3 of them host a show on Sunday night after Watch What Happens Live that's really fun. It's like The View on Bravo.
Tell me, what age did you come to New York City?
I went to college in Boston, and then I came to New York right out of college when I was 22, and I had an internship at CBS News. A desk assistant left the morning show like a week after I moved to New York, and I got a job, and I was working on the desk assistant. I worked the overnight. I worked so many hours a week. I made $15,000 a year plus overtime. And I thought that I had made it because my check said CBS on it. And I was like, look at this. I'm from St. Louis. I didn't have any connections in the TV business. Here I am. I'm working at CBS News in New York. And within a year, I had been promoted. I think I was like the youngest assistant producer at the morning show. And I had this ponytail. I was very precocious. I was very opinionated. I was very loud. I was one of the few out gay guys at CBS News. It was very conservative. There was not, it was also 1991.
What was that like?
It was, well, it felt good because I felt so free. I was so excited that I was finally out and open. But I was running into these guys that were colleagues of mine who were older
in the late 80s.
This is 1990, 1991, and I was running into colleagues who were older at gay bars, and they were in the closet at work, and there they were, and it was always like a thing. I would be like, hey, wow, you're okay. It was just a different time. It was a different time. But it was a great time, by the way, for me professionally. It was a scary time.
How did you know you wanted to get into TV? From Missouri to go to Boston College. But how do you know, when did you decide? Was it in college? It was television?
No, it was growing up. I was like, I wanted to be in TV news. And I think it was because I saw people I knew I wasn't an actor. I'm a terrible actor. And I was like, okay, well, you're not going to be an actor. But I saw people on the news who were themselves on the news, and they were reporting stories. And I was like, oh, well, I would like to be myself and be a journalist. I thought that was really interesting, and you could meet a lot of people. And I originally wanted to be in front of the camera, but when I was an intern at CBS, one of my kind of mentors at the time said, you have this terrible wandering eye. You're a little wall-eyed. He goes, I don't think you're going to make it in front of the camera.
Well, excuse me, who's that person?
He's actually a producer at Sunday Morning. He produced a profile of me at CBS Sunday Morning a few years ago, which was
he sent you a big congratulations.
Yeah. No, he's been great. And I called my mom. I said, this person, Jay, says that I'm terribly wall-eyed. And she said, I've never noticed that you. But then the second that I got on camera at Bravo, people started blogging in, look at you have a terrible crossed eye. What are you doing on TV?
You know what? It's part of who you are. It's part of what makes you who you are. And it's something that you should love and embrace. And you do.
Listen.
So how did you get from CBS to NBC?
So I was at CBS for 10 years. And I was like, I had a front row seat for all of the 90s. While you were in the videos George Michael, that was Freedom 90. There you go. So I was at CBS at the time covering all that stuff. I was at the morning show and at 48 Hours, and I worked my way up the ladder, and it was great fun. And in the year 2000, Barry Diller, who's a
Brian
mutual
Singer,
friend of both of ours. I had met him a few years before, and he was starting a pop culture and arts channel called Trio. And he said, would you want to run programming at Trio? And it was this teeny little arts channel, but I was like, wow, here's this major force in media who's giving me an opportunity to learn about an aspect of broadcasting that I don't know about. I knew everything in my mind. I didn't know everything, but I knew a lot about news. I knew how to crash a story, and I knew how to cut in the edit room and do interviews and produce them and the whole thing. And he was giving me this huge opportunity. So I was at this channel for 4 years, and we made a lot of great documentaries, and it was really cool. And then it was merged. Barry sold his company to Universal, and then Universal and NBC merged. And then the woman that was running Trio went to Bravo, and she took me with her to Bravo in 2004. And that was when I started as an executive at Bravo.
And then from there, worked your way up, up, up.
And then I was VP of original production, and then I became EVP of production and development. And we developed all these great shows: Top Chef, Millionaire Matchmaker, Project Runway, Queer Eye, Flipping Out.
When was your baby, the Real Housewives franchise?
The Real Housewives was born in 2006, I believe. I think we started developing it in 2005. And, that first season of Orange County, we had tremendous problems in the field. And we
what
didn't
kind of problems?
Well, I mean, the footage we were getting back, nothing made sense. The stories, it was all I say this to tell you that there was a moment in time where we considered killing the show and not actually producing the show. And we figured out that it would cost us $400,000 in losses if we let go of the show. My boss at Bravo at the time, Lauren Zalaznik, she's like, we're doubling down. Let's shoot more. Let's bring more people in. Let's do this. And the rest is history. Thank God. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to Naomi Campbell if the Housewives didn't come. I owe all of my on-camera success to the Real Housewives.
I love your journey. I love your dedication. You when someone stays 10 years at their first, that's big. It's not that's dedication, that's drive, that's determination. The 3 P's we call it here. Is there a method to filming the Real Housewives? Like, it's non-scripted, I know, but is there some kind of guidelines? Because there has to be like a conflict somewhere.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, I think that the key to the show is the casting of the women. And, if you cast 5 opinionated women and put them in a room together, something's going to happen. And really, it's about, these are women who have strong personalities, all of them, and strong points of view about how they raise their kids and how they are in their marriage. And, it's about friendship. It's about being a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister. So there are so many entry points. And, it turned, I love sociology, Naomi. I love the way people interact with each other and talk to each other. And it's fun to watch
how people change with certain people.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
so, yeah. And we Geminis, I think we have the knack of seeing that. Yeah. But how did you explain to these people their normal lives in their homes? We're going to film you. How was that? How was the casting? How did you get?
Well, it was, at the beginning, it was very much an experiment in Orange County. It was a man named Scott Dunlap who brought us footage of his neighbors. And he just said, there's something here. And the original pitch was more like a Curb Your Enthusiasm kind of parody of life in this gated community. And we were like, well, these women aren't actresses. So, we kind of said, well, this would be interesting as kind of a docuseries about a group of women. Yeah. And so that that group, you listen to Vicky talk about it. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what the show was going to be.
The first signed ever?
Vicky was in the first group. Gina was really the first signed of that group, and Vicky lived down the street, and they went on. It was all a big experiment. Now, concurrently, fast forward a year or two later, and there's a production company in New York that's casting a show for Bravo called Manhattan Moms. And this was going to be a show about being a mom in New York City, about kind of glamorous moms in New York City. And there was a mom who was trying everything she could do to get her kids into nursery school. And there was another mom with her kid in private school and all this. And that became, because the Orange County Housewives was hitting, that became the Real Housewives of New York City. And we looked, we were in season 2 of Orange County, and we had this casting, and it was like, wait a minute. What if we do what we're doing in Orange County with this group? And when I saw that casting in New York, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be like that, but totally different, because, you look at Jill Zarin, she's a total New Yorker. I mean, it's like, the New York women, Bethany, they had nothing in common with the Orange County women, except that they were on a show with kind of a similar format. So it really seemed like we were onto something. And then concurrently, we had casting in the Atlanta casting was, I think, called the Ladies of Hotlanta. And this was a group that was thrilling to us. Because, Atlanta, that was before Atlanta had really been mined as a location for reality shows. There was a lot of film happening there and TV, but reality wasn't there. And we're looking at these women, and specifically, Sheree had this gorgeous house with this wood-paneled living room. I mean, it was like really beautiful. And they were saying, like, this is like the Black Hollywood here. And we were like, wow, this is really on reality.
Does all the housewives have your phone number?
I would say Potomac and Dallas and Salt Lake have been the slowest to get my number because they're the newest. So if any of them need it, then they get it, and then they have it.
If they don't ask for it, they don't get it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
The reunion shows. Now, the first few seasons, there was not a reunion show, or was there always a reunion show from the get-go?
There was the first season of Orange County. There was a reunion show in Vicky's backyard with no host. It was the 5 of them sitting there with a TV in the backyard. It was so weird. And they were just kind of watching clips of the show and talking about it. What happened in season 2 of Orange County, we needed someone to host it, and I had started hosting a web show online called Watch What Happens. That was an after show after Top Chef. And so I did this show for a while, and my boss said, well, you're doing this show online. Would you like to do this? I was like, oh my God, I would love to. So my first Housewives reunion show was Orange County season 2. And then I did New York season 1, and then Jersey season 1, and Atlanta season 1.
But Andy, the reunions can get real heated.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. I was really Naomi at the beginning. I was really like, ooh.
I mean, sometimes I know you're gonna let it go. Sometimes you're gonna let them get right, but then sometimes, how do you reel it back in? And then when the husbands come, I'm like, what's gonna happen? Potomac had me like that.
Yes.
Potomac had me like that. Like I thought it was gonna be a bust up between the men.
I know, me too. That was a rough one, and people were not happy with me after that one.
They were not?
No.
Are you on good relations with all of the women?
I like to think that I am. I hope so. And I hope that if we're not, the great thing about doing Watch What Happens Live, in terms of my relationship with the women is, and it's been a bummer over the last year, is that I get to see them. I get to see them while the show is in cycle, and I get to see them one-on-one. And if they have an issue with something that I've said or something on the show or something on Watch What Happens Live, we can sit down and have a drink and have a conversation about it and work stuff out. So I think it's been tough in the last year because everything's remote, and even the reunions, it's like we all have masks on, and I like to think that we have good relations, I think.
Who was the hardest guest to book on Watch What Happens Live?
I mean, Oprah was someone that we worked on for a long time. The big bookings, they usually have a good experience and they'll come back for more. Like when we got you the first time, we were so excited and it was a great experience. And you saw something in the show and in me, and you said, "Now this is fun.
On your show. It's so much fun.
I'll do this." Yeah. Yeah.
I love the cocktails in the back. Like people come in and make their cocktails. Now, has anyone come on and got drunk on the show?
Yes. Oh my God. We've had a few. Probably the most famous example was we did a 227 reunion with Jack A and Regina King, Oscar winner Regina King,
yes.
From the show 227, and they came in and they were wasted, and I was like, oh my God, like how is this going to be? It was crazy.
That was a great reunion. Love 227. Your favorite guest?
My favorite, I mean, I have to say, I think that you are one of my favorite guests.
I have to say me. Forget me.
No, I know. I have to say, Oprah was really, it's always better when I'm a huge fan of someone. And the thing about Oprah is that I watched almost every episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show, no lie. Like the biggest Oprah fan. It was just, I loved that show. I thought it was so well produced. I admired how she interviewed people.
Big deal, even for us.
Big deal. Every episode was a big deal. There was never a throwaway episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show. They produced the hell out of that show. There was no. It
was so nice. I actually had the privilege of going on Oprah's show a few times, being flown to Chicago. It was very nice.
Yeah. Their standard for excellence was very high. So I loved it. So when she did my show, that just meant a lot to me personally. We
have someone that I've known since the 90s, but she's your best friend in common. No, that is.
Is it SJ?
Yeah. So I got to do Sarah Jessica Parker. I got to do this movie with her called Miami Rhapsody in the 90s.
Oh my God, we were talking about Miami Rhapsody the other night. I forgot that you were in that movie. I love that movie.
It was so fun to do that film in Miami on the beach.
Yes.
And David, the director, was very sweet.
Yes.
It was fun. And it was fun to get to go to Sundance, to the film festival, to watch it.
I love that movie. And you know, it's funny. You look at that movie now, and that movie was just before Sex and the City. I think they had shot the pilot of Sex and the City, but I don't think the show had been picked up.
Well, I wonder if that's where Sarah met Patricia Fields, because Patricia Fields was the stylist, costumer.
Oh, interesting. And you know, David, I can't remember his last name. He went on to direct a lot of episodes of Sex and the City too.
He did too. Going back to the show on Watch What Happens Live, anyone that you had on the show that you wish you never had on the show and never wanted back on the show?
There have been a couple people. Yeah.
Please do so.
I mean, the problem is, there have been, let me say this, there have been a few people who've come on the show that have left. By the way, we've been doing the show 12 years. It's impossible to make everyone happy. There have been a couple people who have left not thrilled, and those have been fairly well-documented cases because they've talked about it. But
they come with a sense of humor. They're going to I say, okay, British will say, take the piss out of ourselves, make fun of themselves. They didn't come on with that sense of humor?
No, you kind of have to know what the vibe is of the show to do it. You either want to take the fall or not.
You have to take the piss out of yourself. Because I remember when I used to go on David Letterman, the very first time I went on David Letterman, I was like, okay, I'm going to take the piss out of myself. Because what else do you do? The way they have this talk to you, this pre-talk before. And the one thing I love about David Letterman is he never wanted to see you before.
Right.
I don't like to see. I think I like that vibe of just fresh.
That excitement of making it just all happen on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Saturday Night Live does a parody of you. Do you like it?
Yeah, they did a parody many years ago. I was so freaked out by it. I was like, it was the very beginning of Watch What Happens Live. It was like,
oh, it's fun. Isn't that like meant to be like?
Yes, of course. Now of course I'm thrilled and flattered. But at the time, I think I was just really freaked out. I was like, oh my God, am I that huge of a queen? Now I know I'm that huge of a queen, so it would be fine. Now I would love them to do me again.
Well, I'm sure. Okay, you heard that here.
Right.
Andy would like to be on Saturday Night Live again.
Right.
Future franchise for the Housewives. Africa? You know I want Africa.
Oh, I know. We've talked about
that.
It
was so good, Andy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Well, we're developing.
You got to do more than one country. You got to do Nigeria. You got to do Ghana.
Right.
You got
to do I need you to be the me of the African Housewives, and you can do all the reunions. You can be the EP. You be the queen of all of the African.
Hilarious! I'd love to.
God. It would be hilarious. It would be amazing. It would have to be you.
That would be. We have to have a fashion segment of that show or something fashion off that side, because the fashion that we would get would be precious.
Crazy. Love the chair you're sitting in, by the way.
You do? Thank you.
Very chic. We're developing in Miami, Housewives.
You had Miami already.
We had them. It was canceled, and now we're tinkering around. Maybe going to do it again.
Why? Because so many people moved to Miami.
Well, I mean, there was always, there were always a lot of people that said, please bring it back. It's a great city. It's very diverse. It's very exciting. I just think
and I remember, one second, Andy. Was that the one with the lady who had the mother who was like clairvoyant?
Mama Elsa.
Elsa. Yeah. Let's quickly talk about politics. I know you're very political, very active. You happy with the results of where we're at right now?
I do, but I think, as we're speaking, Georgia just passed this law that's rolling back a lot of voting rights. So I'm very happy with how the election turned out, and we just have to keep our eye on the ball.
Now we've got some other people from Missouri that we also have in common. We have Carly Kloss. We have Derek Blasberg. I mean, Missouri's got some real.
St. Louis, man. Those two are.
And we've got Andy Cohen. The Andy Cohen. I mean, do you get to go home often?
I do. I get to go home a couple times a year.
Yeah.
And it's great. Now that I have Ben, it just is totally a whole new experience and very exciting. And
it's so great for your parents too.
It's great. It's great. I mean, for them, for me to have thrown this late in life curveball at 50 years old to bring a new child into the family has just been really energizing for all of us,
God bless you, Andy. I think it's fantastic. Fantastic. Thanks. Really is.
Thank you.
Now, has fatherhood affected you, the way you see the world differently?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, I think certainly you think about your own behavior. I mean, I was kind of a big party animal, and I think when the world opens back up and it's the roaring 20s, you're a dad now, so you just have to kind of figure out what that means.
So no more Christmas parties?
No, I'll still do that, Naomi.
Yeah, we Geminis like to socialize.
Yes, we do.
We like to create the ambiance of the
Yes,
home.
we do. Yes, we do.
Now, Anderson Cooper is your bestie. I know that. Still your bestie. And I do love that you do that New Year's Eve together. How was that going into 2021, being out in Times Square? What was that like?
It was really surreal, but I have to say we worked really hard not only on really making sure that we were both really excited about every guest that we had on and every piece of business that we were doing. We were methodical about just making sure that he and I had fun and all of the mechanisms were in place. And the only thing that Jeff Zucker told us, who runs CNN, he was like, whatever you do, have fun. Yeah. People need you guys to be having fun. And we knew there were going to be so many people at home, and it was the highest rated New Year's in CNN history because everybody was at home, and we did have fun. And it was surreal to be in an empty Times Square, but man, we were like, he and I really, truly had a great time.
You're never going to see that again, an empty Times
Square. Never. And I will say one of the things about, the beginning of the pandemic, that first few months, in April and May, I was getting on my bike and riding around New York City, and it was a trip, man. I would, take 2 puffs on my little magic something, and I'd get on my bike.
But you saw it in a whole other way, you're saying.
Oh, my God. It was fascinating. I mean, you're riding up 6th Avenue, not a car in sight. I'm riding around Rock Center, riding down 5th Avenue with your, no hands on your handlebars. It was incredible. I mean, it was really surreal. It was like that movie Vanilla Sky, and you will hopefully never, ever see it again. But it's something I'll never forget.
I understand exactly what you're saying. I feel that way about the City of Lights, Paris, because I went walking around for hours. I felt like Paris was all mine.
Yeah.
It was the most, I felt like the garden, the Tuileries were mine. I mean, I really got to understand Paris is beautiful, but I never had time to see it because I'm always rushing to work.
Wow.
And I just got to really appreciate the beauty, the architecture. And it's like that now wherever I go. I see everything a little bit not a little bit, I see everything in a different light. I'm grateful to put my feet on grass.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you a couple more questions. You want more kids?
I would. I mean, I got to get on it, but I would. I feel like just for him, I feel like it will be good for, I'm old. I want him to have.
Not old, Andy.
Thank you. I want him to have I'm an older dad. I want him to have a buddy around the house,
So we got to be thinking about that soon.
Yes. Yeah. We're working on it.
Yeah. I'm sure all the housewives have sent Ben so many gifts. Where'd you put them all?
Well, you know what's so funny? The housewives had that legendary baby shower for me before Ben was born. And it really was incredible. It was the only time that I think ever that all the housewives have been together under one roof.
They came to me.
No, it was in LA, and it was thrown by the OGs. It was Vicky, Teresa, Nene, Kyle, and Ramona threw it. And it was all the women from all the different cities. And I got so many labels. Like this boy, he had Fendi tracksuits and Fendi knit pants. Dorit got him all this Fendi. Like Camille Grammer got him. He was on the cover of People magazine with me, and he's wearing this super kind of cashmere top that Camille Grammer had given him. Nene got him this Burberry parka that he's wearing today. And it just great stuff. I had the 5 OGs on the night that I announced that I was having a child. It was my last show of the year of 2019.
How much longer did you have to go before Ben was born?
He was born 6 weeks later. And I was so scared that someone was going to find out or whatever. And I was like, I want to announce this on my own terms. And I thought, you know what? I would like this group of women to be there because I've been there through all of their personal stuff. And I just thought it would be nice if we could share that moment together. They're all moms. And so I just thought it would be cool. And that night they were like, we want to throw you a shower. We want to throw you a shower. I was like, oh my God. And
I wish I was a fly on the wall there.
Oh my God.
I wish I
Naomi.
was a fly on a wall for that.
It was a trip.
Let me ask you something that has nothing to do with what we're discussing.
Okay.
I'd like to ask you, what did you think of the interview with Meghan Markle?
Well, I was riveted. I wish that they would, people are always tweeting me after reunion shows saying, release all the tapes. We want to see the whole thing. I wish that I would like to see the entirety of that interview. And I have a feeling it could have been 3 hours. And I would have watched 3 hours, by the way.
Everyone was just glued, right?
Glued. Nobody does it better than Oprah, first of all. She's the queen. I miss the day of like the big Oprah interview. Like I always
with the bombshells.
Yes. So getting into the particulars, I think first of all, if anyone said that, like the two things for me that make it impossible not to root for and care about Meghan and Harry is that her saying that it was a mental health issue, that she was suicidal. And when you look at the racist crap that went down and, through in various ways, it's like a no-brainer. It's like, okay, I get it. I get why you left, And I mean, but what about?
I'm British. I live,
It makes me sad that Harry and William's relationship it seems to be very bad, and that makes me very sad. And I thought it was also kind of a bombshell that it doesn't seem like Kate and Meghan are in. Yeah. What did you think?
I'm sad about William and Harry.
Yeah,
their mom would have not wanted that.
Of course not.
And
No.
I met them with their mom, so.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you think of the interview?
It's tough because, to question an unborn child's color of their skin, that's really tough.
It sure is.
That's a hard one. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yes, it is.
A Black woman, how am I going to, you know what I mean?
How do you get past that? How do you get past that?
I mean, you're heightened, your sensitivity as a woman and you're pregnant, it's already heightened. That's really.
And the security, I'm reading a lot of different things about whether that security for Archie was, when they said it was like, Harry was like, I need to keep my wife and my family safe. I mean, you have to respect that also. And this was not a safe environment for them. So he did what he had to do.
I hope like with time, their Diana's only children.
Yeah, I hope they can get back. Because also, the truth of the matter is he would have
I'm discussing this only because I think the whole world is discussing it.
Of course, it's top of everyone's mind.
Well, we're in our 50s, Andy, and I feel, they're much younger than we are, and life is so short.
Right.
Life is so short, and if what we've just gone through with this virus and still it's going through, we know we're just seeing a bit of light in the tunnel, you got to hang on to your loved ones. I know family's not easy, but, they're our family. That's our loved ones. That's our blood. That's our blood type.
Yep. You're right.
And I really pray that gets fixed.
Me too.
But you're going to be calling me soon and telling me another one's coming. I can feel. Oh, maybe it is coming and you're just not saying.
From your lips to God's ears.
Yes. So Miami next. Let's do Africa, Andy. Why not?
Ooh.
I mean, Nollywood is South Africa's films. We can do this.
Huh.
Let's look into the possibilities.
We're going to talk.
Andy Cohen, thank you so much, my Gemini, for coming on.
Thank you, Naomi.
Thank you for giving your precious time with your time to feed your baby, you gave to No Filter. I'm so grateful. And Ben do a cameo on No Filter.
You got it, Gemini Princess.
I love you.
Love you.
I'm calling you that 20 minutes. Run.
Thank
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen. Andy Cohen. How real is Andy Cohen? He's one of the realest. That's why we all love doing this show. We all go to him, no matter how many times he asks. We all want to be there because you just chill. You just have the conversation. That's just real. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Brown Girls out.